I'm just going to start the sequence, and I will make a conscious intention to practice being first comfortable in my own body so that this is a self-healing and self-rejuvenating practice for me as the giver, and then also to pay attention to the natural fit. So for today, we've also been emphasizing that natural fit technology. So when I'm working on the feet here, the arch of the foot is such that it's not facing straight up, nor is it facing the horizon, but it's facing at an angle. So if I want to touch the arch of the foot and it's at an angle, then my pressure must also be at an angle that's perpendicular to that. And it's an approximation, but you kind of feel it. You feel where that geometry fits together. So your perpendicular line from the arch of the foot is approximately at a 45-degree angle away from the arch of the foot. And you can see that's how I'm positioned in my body, that my shoulders are behind my hands, like that. Another reason that that makes sense is because the hinge at the wrist is probably at a 90-degree angle is where you can apply body weight without compromising the wrist joint. Once you go beyond 90 degrees, you start to put more pressure on the wrist, and more compression often leads to wrist issues. So trying to keep the wrist at 90 degrees or less is a good choice for a sustainable practice. We'll be working with some very lazy techniques. So I'll walk around and use my hands to help guide me so I feel where the knee is. I'm going to sit between the knee and the ankle. I'm going to place his leg close to my knees, and then slowly I sit back. I'm getting a strong sensation in my own calf muscles, as this is a firm massage for my calf. I can watch my receiver, notice his breath, and that'll help me understand whether my pressure is good for him. And it seems like it's okay. If you're not sure, feel free to ask. Andrew, is it okay? It's good. Not too much? Okay. No hand, no weight in this hand, just mother hand, just care. I'm going to lift up the leg as I sit up. As I walk in a little bit further, I take his leg with me. And then I release it down. Once again, I'm going to sit between the hip and the knee, about halfway, and I just sit back. Here, the upper thigh loves body weight, so I'm very happy to sit not only back, but really sit down into my center of gravity. These static techniques, when you're just listening and observing, are a great time to practice being patient and listening. It's when we're in the practice of not doing that we cultivate a heightened sense of perception and awareness. Another way that I could do this same technique is I use my hands underneath my butt and I sit on my hands. Really nice feeling. And then my hands can feel his quad, and I can do little circles like so to shift the weight into different parts of my hand. Again, this is a great technique to practice being comfortable in your own body. It's also a lazy way of doing massage. If you're tired and somebody asks you for a treatment, you can just do something like this. Okay. So I pivot around, and I'm going to place his heel on my right foot, right at where the big toe, second toe meet. And I find that there's a natural fit there. And when his foot rests there, it externally rotates. So I don't really have to do much to facilitate that. It just happens naturally. The more that I flex my right foot, the more external rotation it gives his leg. If you need to adjust, you can adjust using the other foot like so. And then we're just going to explore this idea of perpendicular pressure by applying my left foot on the top of his thigh, arch of my left foot here. I just let it sink and nest. And then I maybe give 10, 20% of my energy to flex my right foot. And in that way, it takes him a little bit deeper. It sinks my left foot a little bit deeper into the quad. No force, just feeling, just feeling. I really want to emphasize that from your hip to your foot, your leg is in a perpendicular line to his thigh. Okay? To go a little bit deeper, I aim for his hip crease here. Again, top of his thigh, the outer edge of my foot is very close to the hip crease, but the arch of my foot is still on the thigh, on the quad. There, I'm going to lock my leg out, and then with my right foot, I gently draw his leg towards me a little bit more. With Andrew, I feel I can scoop my butt over a little bit more, and I keep my left leg locked. That's fixed, and I work with my right foot. So in some ways, the left foot is just there almost like a mother foot. Even though it's doing work, it's not actively applying force or energy. Is that okay, Andrew? To come out, this is very fancy. I keep my right foot where it is. I come down onto my left knee. Then I support his knee. And bring it vertical. So I feel for the range of movement here, very simple. Hip circles. I let his knee open wide. And then I place his foot in my left hip crease, like so that we make friends. Here I can wrap my right hand over the top of the thigh, very close to the hip crease once again. So this is the area of rectus femoris, one of the quad muscles. And then I'm gently drawing back with my hands as I lean with my hips forward, just like that. I'm going to use that same movement to bring his knee, thigh, to the ground. I take my right hand to the outer hip of the straight leg. I give him a lot of support so that he can come with me. And then I use my left hand to root the leg down to the ground. Once I'm there, I can keep this as my pillar and readjust around it. So I move my right leg, right knee, and then I'm comfortable. You can see that there's a perpendicular line here from my shoulders to where my hands land. And I just keep him rooted down by using my own body weight, by using gravity. And here we become the big cat, the big mother cat. I'm feeling under my hands, and I'm just letting my body weight sink. It's nice to take a moment to just let both hands sink. I know Andrew, he's got strong legs, strong hamstrings, so I can even stretch my back leg straight to apply more body weight. To release, I take my right hand to the outer hip. I want to give him a lot of support. I walk my right knee in so I'm more centered, like so. And then I catch his knee, bring him back. To this position here, like the hip circles. I lower my left knee down, step my right foot across. Here I want to get his knee crease over my thigh so that I'm going to use his leg as a lever. It's really important that I have his knee crease, not his calf. If I have his calf, then it'll squish the calf, it'll feel uncomfortable. So to get the knee crease there, you really want to press the thigh onto your leg. And then I use my right hand to press the top of his foot down, and the movement comes from my hip. So I'm just leaning forward while keeping steady pressure in my right hand. If I want to go a little bit further, I just bring his leg towards my knee, and I take the whole party forward. So I move my right foot, right knee forward, and here, nice opportunity to follow. Left hand can also come to the top of the thigh and support in this way. To transition out, I'm going to use my hands to pivot my left shin back, adjust my knee so I'm comfortable here. And then I bring my right hand like a cradle underneath his leg and around his shin. So my hand is on the inner knee. My opposite hand can support here on either side, like so. And what I'm going to do is bring his leg into pigeon. So I'm going to take the knee, his knee relative to his hip, wider, and then use my upper arm to bring his shin towards his chest, like so. Another nice addition is to create space here at the hip. So I use my left hand to catch and draw back as I lean forward with my right arm. How's that feel? Nice to give the knee a lot of support here. We keep the leg supported as we extend the leg all the way up. And then like we did yesterday, I catch the ankle in my left hand, right hand to the sole of the foot. Breathe in, breathe out. Beautiful. And we'll repeat on the second side. So I make sure I'm sitting between the knee and the ankle. And once I know where I'm at, I just go for it. Something to be aware of in the way that we apply what we're learning is that we always have the opportunity to adjust. So we referred to the nest that we make yesterday. Every time we make contact, we make a nest. So if your nest is not quite right, you can always come up, readjust, feel it, readjust, feel it. And then you find the perfect fit. And it's a magic nest where you get golden eggs. So really you do want to give yourself the opportunity to find those magic nests, to find the treasures. I'm going to sit right on the hands this time. Make little circles, really good feeling for my receiver. As I sit back, there's more weight on my hands. More weight requires more time. So, like scuba divers, they need to take time to go deep. We also need to take time if we want to go deep. And what is that expression again?
Can't go too deep, can only go too fast.
Only too fast. As I release, I prepare to pivot around, so I use my right hand to support. And then my feet catch his leg. I bring the heel of his foot between the big toe, second toe, and it creates a natural rotation of his foot externally here. Yeah. I'm going to slide back, maybe make a little adjustment. This is quite nice where you use the other foot to support so you can adjust. And then I'm just going to start by finding a perpendicular line. I use the arch of my foot, and it looks like I just need to scoot my butt over a little bit. So my leg is not straight here. This is just for us to feel what it's like to have a perpendicular line relative to the thigh. He can feel it already. I'm going to make sure I make my nest and go a little slower, like that. 10, 20%, not much, just feeling, just feeling. If you wanted to, you could really play with this. You could move your foot up and down gently on the quad, and you would feel the different parts of the muscle. So we're going to move the foot all the way to the top of the quad where it meets the hip. The edge of my foot nests into the hip crease here. And then I'm going to straighten my right leg all the way and start to draw my left toes back. As I do that, I get really comfortable. Let's see. Oops. I knew that was going to happen. I can pretend like it was part of the story. There we go. Set it up once again. I nest my foot. I lock. And then I just pull back with my left toes, maybe 15, 20%, keeping my right leg locked and my right foot soft. If I want to give him a little extra, I just bring a mother hand to his hand. Good. We release here. I'm going to come up onto my right knee, use my hands to support his leg, and then gentle hip circles, like so. I place his foot in my right hip crease, and I just play here. Even here, I can see, if I don't do much, how much flexibility he has. So as soon as he's maxed out on flexibility, the opposite hip moves. Okay? I take my left hand to securely support the opposite hip, my right hand to the inner thigh, towards the hamstring, and then once I have this locked down, I adjust my back leg, my front foot, so that I'm comfortable. Keeping that, I can be the big cat. Since Andrew has his hip lifted quite a bit off the ground, what I'll do here is let my right hand sink and draw his hip towards me. So it's hopefully feeling to him like he's not working and it's becoming more relaxed. I shorten the muscle, and I'm still keeping pressure through my right hand. And then I slowly release. Stretching the back leg gives me a little bit more body weight. Big, strong legs, like the body weight. So coming back, I'm going to give him a lot of support on the hip so that I can catch the knee. Good. And all I really want to encourage is for him to stay relaxed while I move from one position to another. I step my left foot across now, adjust myself. You can see this is very much like our runner's lunge. And then I use my leg as a lever. Follow with my right hand. I can also follow at the hip here. and just a little rocking. Just a little rocking. My left hand slides underneath the calf. I catch the inner knee. And then I have a lot of support here on the knee, both hands around the knee. I'm going to draw the knee wide of his hip and readjust my body. So I swing my right shin back so that I'm facing him, and I can even use my chest. I just turn my head away so that I'm not breathing on my receiver. Good. So, obviously, room to go. I give a lot of support to the leg. Then here I'm going to support his ankle, sole of the foot. I breathe in. How do I want my body to look? Arms? Back? Excellent. Nice. Okay. Finish. We're going to review pec minor and then I'll do the head. So yesterday we worked on the lung points here. So what I'll do is I'll just review that with you. We're going to kneel facing away at a 45-degree angle from our receiver. We're going to bring his arm so that there's about a 45-degree angle between his side body and elbow. And then I just want to palpate with the palm of my hand on the head of the arm bone where the arm, shoulder, meets the chest. And I'm just going to wag the elbow a little bit. And what that's doing is it's helping me to feel the nest, feel where my hand nests into the little valley here. There's a little valley on the underside of the arm bone. And if you lift the arm up, it becomes exaggerated. So when you place your hand like so, you can lift the arm up a little bit to exaggerate that valley. That's where you want the heel of your hand to nest. As I find that nest, I'm actually going to draw my energy down and back this way. And what that does is it helps to remove any skin tension. The natural tendency is going to be to press this way towards the head at an angle. So the natural tendency will be to pull the skin like that. So we draw back to help counterbalance that natural effect. So I make my nest, and then I keep his arm at this 45-degree angle, and I just lean my hips sideways. With a straight arm, I lean towards my hand and my hips move in that direction. And in that way, I'm really using just my body weight to sink in. I could stay here for several breaths. I'm not going so far that I feel any strain, any effort on my part. I'm just letting gravity do the work. When I come out, it's deep work. I'm just going to wrap my fingers over the top of the shoulder, shake the arm a little bit. Very important here in your body position as a giver is that you want your hand to be in line with your hip so that when you lean sideways, the body weight is going from your hip. You wouldn't want your hand in line with your knee, but back here with the hip, where your center of gravity is, okay? So when you set this up, it's very clear that you have your hip and hand in one line. Got it? Good. So we'll move to the other side, and I'll stay in touch with Andrew as I shift positions. Here we are, second side. I get close enough to him that I can reach him, far enough away that I have room to lean. I find the magic nest. I draw the energy in towards his center, straighten my right arm, relax my hand, and I just let body weight do the work. Maybe readjust adjust here. There it is. So this work on pec minor, lung 1, is very much connected to the back body, the neck, and the shoulders. So by releasing this muscle, it's a junction point that attaches to a lot of muscle groups in the back. And so when you release the front, you also, by association, release tension in the upper back, shoulders, and neck. Come out, shake, shake, shake. It's okay. Got a little nervous over there, Pedro. Okay, then I'm going to stand up. Take a hold of the arms and just lean from side to side. What this is doing is helping to rock his neck. His head is moving along with his torso. I just release his hands to his belly, one at a time. And then, keeping in touch with him, I'm going to sit so that I can work with the head a little bit. So here we're just going to practice learning how to hold the head. And we're going to use the magic 2, the middle and ring finger, to touch at the base of the occiput, or the base of the skull, the occipital ridge. So if you use those 2 fingers, you can come at the back of the head, just at the top of the neck, to where the neck meets the skull, and you can follow the ridge at the base of the skull with those fingers to feel all of these little nests, all of these little places where you find a natural fit. And then when you nest your hands there, you can cup the palms around the head. Your thumbs will come up close to the temples, and then your index finger will just land wherever it lands. Now, keeping this position, what I'm going to do is lean Andrew's head to one side, like so. I'm going to readjust this top hand, and then I'll lean his head in the other direction and readjust the opposite hand. And I repeat this a couple of times, moving nice and slow, so that I can find the best fit of my hand to support his head. Now I feel like I really have a good hold of his head, so I'm going to turn his head even a little bit further into one hand and turn his chin towards his opposite shoulder. Again, this is a really great place to readjust, but it's also a bonus if you give a little shampoo. And then as I turn his head, I keep his chin reaching towards his chest. And this is the natural movement of the neck, is that there is a side bend and a rotation when the neck is turning from side to side. So again, I turn the head, I turn the chin towards the opposite shoulder, I let the head rest in the palms of my hand. And this simple exercise will help you to get more confident with holding the head and moving it gently. I would encourage you to move the head very slowly, with a lot of care, a lot of attention. I'm going to slowly lower his head down. And then as I do, I'm just going to slide the magic 2 underneath the neck and lift up gently. And then I draw my hands to the occipital ridge, and I give a gentle traction with those 2 fingers at the base of the skull, gently drawing his head towards me. Then I'm going to bring my thumbs to the third eye point. Very nice, as an opportunity to touch the third eye here. And then I simply slide my thumbs over the forehead to the temples, give them a little shampoo, and seal in that way.